Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to Thinking Out Loud. I'm your host, Sam Bradley. Today we are thinking out loud about a load of neat computer stuff, up to and including alternative currency. I'm joined by a computer scientist by the name of Maell Cullen. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Sam.
Good. Yeah, I'm doing really well. I'm better now you're here. So for those, we're going to start real shallow because I've read a couple of things that you've sent me and I sort of understand a few of them. To everyone that doesn't know what an alternative currency is, what is an alternative currency?
So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency in that it is essentially a distributed ledger that holds values of transactions that have been made between various people.
Okay.
It's hard to compare it to a real currency, such as that, like the pound
Or dollars or whatever.
Yeah,
That's quote unquote a real currency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it has a physical basis.
Right. You have £5 notes and dollar bills and what have you.
And if you had a note, it would say from the bank, I promise to pay the bearer on demand £5, and that correlates to something.
But Bitcoin doesn't have that. Bitcoin doesn't have physical manifestation. It's not a physical thing. It's all digital.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
Okay. So how does that set it aside from real currency, other than it having no physical value? What other benefits does it give it?
So I think a good way to explain it is that if I send you some Bitcoins, we both have some Bitcoins, all I am sending you is a ledger and a record of all the previous transactions that my currency has been involved in.
What's a ledger in this context? What is meant by the phrase or word ledger?
A record of everyone who has currency, how much currency they own.
Right. Okay.
And where they intend it to be sent. Because the whole system is quite fluid.
Okay. Unlike real currency, would you say, is it more fluid because it doesn't have physical form?
Potentially, but real currency isn't necessarily all accounted for.
How do you mean?
There are no unaccounted Bitcoins, so you probably have some pound coins in your pocket, and the bank isn't aware that you have those pound coins.
Not yet.
Nor is the tax man, probably.
Right, well, we come in legally speaking.
Yeah,
come on, man. Play ball.
Of course, of course.
Right, but you don't have that with Bitcoin because everything is like you said, it's the digital ledger.
Yeah.
So everybody everywhere knows how many Bitcoins I have. Correct or incorrect?
It's an interesting question.
Okay.
So a given person can't just go and check how much Bitcoins that you have.
Right.
The way a transaction works over the blockchain or the Bitcoin blockchain is I don't give you money directly.
Right.
I send a willingness to give you money into the network.
Right.
So over 50% of the network has to agree that I am able to spend that money.
Right.
I have the money.
And that's what gives it its value.
Yes.
So it works.
And that's what it means by decentralized. So I think another good way to understand it is to think of the differences between a centralized organization, a decentralized organization, and a distributed organization.
Right. And what are the differences between the three?
So a centralized organization would be like the government.
Yeah. That's what we have now. It's like the Bank of England.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I said yes quite quickly there.
But
off the top of my head, I don't know. A bank can be weird.
Okay.
The government is centralized in that it has a single locus of control, and all branches of that government essentially follow suit from the tier above it. The military is also centralized in that it has one single authority. Yeah. Tesco is, even though it has branches all over the country, it's centralized
because it has a headquarters, I guess. It has it has
a single office telling everyone what to do.
Right, so decentralized then, by that logic, a decentralized economy, should we say, is just that. It has no main physical base of location. It is everywhere.
Not quite.
Okay.
So
so what was wrong with that? So decentralized is what?
So there may be many controlling nodes or centers
Right.
that all communicate with each other, but yet still have precedence over nodes below it.
Okay, yeah.
So think of the internet in that if you go onto the internet and I were to send you a message, we don't send it directly from one computer to the other. We send it via an ISP.
Yeah.
So
we send it to Facebook and Facebook sends it to me.
Sends it back.
For example.
Yes.
Right.
But
okay.
someone in Finland would send a message and it could go to an ISP in Finland and then to an ISP in England and then down to us.
Right.
So
okay.
so say that ISP in Finland and the ISP in England, they have like equal status within the network. Neither takes precedence over each other.
Right.
But they take precedence over us, the end user.
Okay, so they decide whether we get the message, but neither one of those decides who sends or receives it. In that, England doesn't decide, well, Sam's going to get the message more than Finland decides Sam's going to get the message.
Yes.
So taking that back to currency then, what are the advantages of doing that? Because that's what Bitcoin works on, isn't it? A decentralized...
So, there's also distributed.
Okay.
A distributed, which would be in the case of individual nodes being able to freely communicate with each other. And it's an open question as to whether Bitcoin is decentralized or distributed. In theory, it is distributed, but in practice, it's more of a decentralized networks in that there are sort of like clusters.
Fuck. Wow, okay.
So, if I were to send you some Bitcoins...
Yeah.
That's me saying I am willing to send this person some money.
X amount of money.
Yeah. So I just broadcasted that to the network, but because the Bitcoin network is so large, there are going to be nodes
everywhere
closer to me.
Yeah.
That will process that before nodes further away.
Okay.
In the network, but even though that network there is no main locus of control. Just by the way it's structured, which is inherently random.
Yeah.
Some people will process it before others. But to bring it back to the centralized, decentralized, what I was talking about there, you asked about what the benefit over traditional currency was.
Yeah.
We use banks.
Bitcoin banks?
No, just regular, like
right.
In real life.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We use banks.
So that's like a node.
A bank is a central node.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I see, that's just like translated one word into another and suddenly I get what you're talking about. Right, okay.
Good. Okay.
Awesome, okay.
So hopefully I didn't go on a tangent there. But,
no, it's cool. It's why we're here. It's complicated shit. But then again, so is the real economy, I suppose, if you really try and work out how it works.
Of course. Everyone loves a good tangent.
Everyone loves a good tangent, but more people like good economy, I think. I don't know. So...
From what you've heard about Bitcoin, do you think it's a good economy?
I think... I've read a couple of books and they talk about the way you get them, and they talk about the way the economy seems to, because you can only get so many bitcoins from one place, because you mine them, don't you, with supercomputers, I understand. Because you can only get so many from one place, the economy kind of manages itself in that you'll never get hyperinflation with Bitcoin. There'll never be so many that the exchange rate to pounds, for example, drops off a cliff.
Oh, well, that has happened.
Whoa.
At the minute, I actually checked before I came here, and I think at the minute a Bitcoin is worth something around £600.
That's insane. And
the last time I looked at it, which was, I don't know, maybe sometime during early 2016, it was like £250, £300. And that doesn't seem like a large jump, but I think a couple of weeks ago it was up to 800.
That's nuts.
And there have been times where it's like went over 1,000.
Why is that so?
And it drops. So there was a boom some time ago, and the Chinese government and I believe the Russian government as well basically banned their financial institutions from even interacting with Bitcoin because they thought it might have some sinister motive behind it. It doesn't have a brilliant reputation.
No, because it's used as
and it's entirely anonymous.
Yeah, it's used as that. It's entirely anonymous, and I've heard stories of it's a sort of dark web currency. You use it to buy like drugs and guns on the internet. Is that? I think that whenever you seem to hear stories of alternative currencies, it's usually like stuff like the Silk Road.
Yeah,
being involved with that, using to buy all manner of nasty stuff anonymously, which I guess Not great. It's not a great reputation to have.
And the dark web in general, like, it doesn't sound too appealing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So,
but it's so the creator of Bitcoin,
people didn't know who it was for like the longest time, did they?
And we don't know if we do. So it's the original white paper was released under the name of a man called Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah.
In 2008. Mm-hmm. But there seems to be no evidence of this man, or no one really knows who it was. So there's been some speculation that it was like underground banking shenanigans. There's quite convincing theories that it was actually the NSA who developed it.
To what end? Oh, to have a means of paying for illegal shit off the record.
That's their game, is data informatics and cryptography, and Bitcoin is essentially cryptography.
Right.
It's the entire principle is based on elliptical digital signature curves, and so that's what makes it anonymous.
Yeah.
In that but there was also another man, an Australian, who came out in public and said that he was Satoshi Nakamoto, but no one really cared.
Right.
I don't think anyone wanted to believe it was that guy, because it was just like a white guy with sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah. just figured it out one day. Oh shit, no.
Yeah.
X over 2, stupid.
Yeah. People had it in their minds that it was going to be some like cool underworld conspiracy.
Yeah. That's so weird. It's such a weird thing. Like, you delve in, and I've gone sort of maybe ankle deep into some of the stuff that it revolves around and some of the reputations that it gets, and they're not great. And I wondered, is that something perpetuated by maybe a financial institution that doesn't want it to become a thing? Or is that just the nature of what it is? Because it's anonymous, people naturally distrust it.
So I believe people are right not to trust Bitcoin,
right?
Specifically.
Okay.
I've become quite disenamored with the whole idea of Bitcoin. I was very, very into it maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. Then maybe a few years before then, until that time, you could mine Bitcoins profitably with a laptop.
We should just say mine is to create Bitcoin.
Yes, mining is to create. Perhaps we should explain that a bit further. So, back to our example we've revisited many times, where I send you some Bitcoins.
Yeah.
It's sent over to the network.
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to receive those Bitcoins, the entire network has to validate that I have the currency.
Right. Okay.
And that we both exist as users, and that I don't spend that currency twice.
Right, okay.
Okay. That's done through cryptography and complicated algorithms that essentially guarantee that I can't do those things, that I can't spend money.
Yeah, that you don't have, or spend it twice, for example. Like, give it 100 quid away, but also spend 100 quid.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So the more coins, and essentially how that's done, as I said earlier, that transaction is essentially made up of, so all I'm sending you, the actual cash of the transaction is just a record. So say I have 5 Bitcoins in my wallet, and I send you one of them. What the network is actually verifying is the history of that one Bitcoin.
Right. It's like chips at a casino. If you imagine that a Bitcoin wallet is like cashing money in to get chips, it's a currency that's worth, a certain amount of another currency. So if you're another player on a table, I might lose, for example, 5 chips, and they might go to you. But you don't really have them until you cash out, right? It's all in the ether. It's all that chip is worth a certain amount as long as you're in that casino. And you could then, because you could win those 5 chips, for example, and then you could lose those 5 chips. So the trace of the chip would be Sam to Mel to, so table owner or whatever.
Using that analogy, you would then take it to the cashier.
Cage.
The cashier.
Take it to the cage.
What do you call, I'm not American enough to know what that guy's called.
Yeah.
So before he would give you the money that you had won or that was transacted to you, he would review every single place that chip had been.
So you can't create chips, bring them into the casino, and then trade them for real money.
No, the network creates chips.
Yeah, but I'm saying that to stop that from happening, That's why you have to validate the path of each chip.
Yes.
So you know that I didn't make it in a fucking steam press in the back of my car and then right?
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
But what allows that to happen is agreement.
Okay.
There was a nicer word for that I was struggling to find. Basically, over 50% of the network has to agree on the paper trail, so to speak, of that.
Like an authentication process.
Yes.
Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
But that can be overpowered.
Can it?
It can.
People can hack Bitcoin, because I thought that Bitcoin was so revolutionary because it couldn't be hacked.
Oh, no.
Or maybe that's old news.
It's prohibitively difficult to overwhelm.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Just like getting away with murder is prohibitively difficult.
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
So, to contextualize how difficult it is, as I was saying, when I was into Bitcoin, a couple of years ago, I decided to revisit it and got to, 2014. I got a little Bitcoin miner that was ASIC chips at that time.
Right.
And it was capable of a few teraflops of processing or whatever.
Yeah. Because you need a lot of it, we should say, to mine Bitcoin.
A lot of it, yeah. But this machine was no bigger than your laptop. It had a single fan. You plugged it into your Ethernet.
And you created money?
Yeah, basically.
That's nuts.
Basically, yeah, it's cool, and you're good to go. But this is how I became a bit disenfranchised.
So why can't you, just to hold on that point a minute,
Yeah.
if I had going back to our real money example, quote unquote real money, if I had something in the corner that could print £20 notes,
Yeah.
that's got to have a massive knock-on effect to the wider economy. That's how hyperinflation happens, for example.
Yeah.
You increase the amount. So what stops that happening on Bitcoin?
So the Bitcoin network in itself is self-regulating and it's rate limiting. So we're talking about mining. Mm-hmm. Mining is created when those previous transactions are validated.
Right, okay.
Then you can think of it as the network expanding.
The network says, yes, we're okay to expand this much.
Yeah.
Right, so you could turn your miner on and it could give you nothing because the network has decided, no, we don't need any more Bitcoins right now. Theoretically.
Possibly.
Right, okay.
So let's say the transaction is between ourselves and Lauren, our producer over here.
We.
Is a miner. She's mining Bitcoin. She wants to make some money from the network. She would be the one that puts in the computer processing power that validates
Right, okay.
the transaction.
Yeah.
And that's where she gets a reward from.
Right, okay. Yeah, I see that.
So the network rewards you for validating purchases made on the network.
So whenever there's a transaction, okay, so if Bitcoins are a register of us having money, if you wired me some Bitcoins that had come from Lauren would get a reward for creating those Bitcoins.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. Well, so
if I can interject, there is also the equivalent of the money printing machine. There is unauthorized mining that has been taken.
Oh, right. Right, okay, so that's a good point. So unauthorized. So, okay, so it's like people print their own money.
So that would be, so people could attempt to fraudulently scam the network, but if the consensus agrees, so if the network as a whole agrees that that was fraudulent or doesn't line up with over 50% of the consensus, then it gets discarded.
Right.
It's junked.
Okay, so you have a money printing machine, you have a miner, like you said a couple of years ago, in your house. What's to stop you just creating 500 Bitcoins, keeping them from yourself, and then exchanging them into pounds?
So I don't create them.
Right.
The network creates them.
Right.
And I am rewarded proportionally to the amount of computer power that I contributed.
Right, okay.
Although that's not strictly true, you can mine a block by yourself.
And what is a block?
You get 50 Bitcoins. So if you saw, there's like a certain threshold at which, so if you verify to a certain extent, you hit a threshold, the network creates a new block. And what has 7 or 8 years ago, it wasn't uncommon. Well, 6-7 years ago, it wasn't uncommon for people with laptops to hit blocks.
Wow.
And get 50 Bitcoins as a reward.
And then just exchange them.
But now you have networks of maybe 1 to 20,000 people.
Right.
Each sharing the 50 blocks rewarded. So the probability of you sitting at home by yourself and getting that 50 bit
is really low because you need a massive amount of power to do so.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
okay.
it is possible.
Yeah.
But statistically,
You need like those giant Cray computers that Batman uses.
No es bueno.
Got it. Awesome.
But the miner I bought back in 2014, I really loved it while I had it, but they're getting so sophisticated now. So in 2014, I had this machine, and I was looking at pictures on the internet of a guy somewhere in China that had what seemed like a warehouse or a huge room. Could you imagine like a huge storage room?
Yeah,
with like
a football stadium type.
With,
type
not quite not quite that big. So say like a Sainsbury's.
Yeah, I got it.
Like a Sainsbury's storeroom, like significantly large. Floor to ceiling racks, just full of these single chip ASIC processors.
Right.
The unit in 2014 that I had on my desk was capable of equal computational power.
What the fuck? How much does this shit cost?
The one I got was, I think, around £300.
So not wildly expensive.
But I used it for a year.
Right.
I made enough money to pay for itself, and then maybe 1.5 times. Like it wasn't significant, but after a year, had I kept running it, I would have been losing money.
Right, because the shit moves so quickly and gets sophisticated. Like everything else in the tech sector, it gets sophisticated. Like, you know, you get a brand new iPhone, it costs you £50 a month. But if you get a phone from a year ago, it costs you like nothing a month.
Yes,
same sort of
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And because every time the network creates a new block, it gets more difficult to solve.
Yeah,
the next one,
because it should be, because you don't want a load of idiots just suddenly having a load of money.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That is nutty.
Well, it's not. It's
does
not,
it work?
It's
there
not
booms and busts. Does it work largely?
Sorry, but it's not. It's not a failsafe that they put in. It's just a property of the network.
Right.
The larger it gets,
it's like a byproduct,
and the more. So, in this example where I give you a Bitcoin, the computational power to process that transaction has to trace that Bitcoin the whole way back.
Yeah.
Until that Bitcoin was created.
And then that Bitcoin could have changed hands billions of times.
It could have been one of the first ones created in 2008.
Right.
So that Bitcoin that's out there still has to be accounted for in every transaction.
So how the hell did Kanye West try and create his own currency?
I don't know.
Did you hear about that? They had Kanye coins, and at one point there was like an hour on a Saturday night where they were worth like $10,000 per Kanye coin. Because there was no failsafe, because he just said, "Oh, this would be a good idea." And
so that's the thing. It's the same is true for Bitcoin. It's only perceived value.
That's the same with all money, though.
But it's
£5 is worth only what someone will give me for it, right? Promise to pay the bet. That's how currency loses value. That's how £2 become worth €1 instead of €4.
To be fair, I just think of currency. I just think there's a big, massive room somewhere with tons of gold in it. And everything is fine. I don't need to think anything.
Buried under fucking like a field in Switzerland with a nuclear mine next to it. He's only going to dig that hole once.
Just put my fingers in my ears and just pretend everything's. It all makes sense. It's not just built on.
That's nuts. So I'm trying now not to just fire. What if fucking aliens or whatever? But so we have this system and we have Bitcoin. Why is it such an easy target for criminals? Is it because it's just anonymous?
That is literally it.
That's so weird. So, right, I have to just process that information for a minute, because a totally anonymous currency seems like also all at once the best idea and the worst idea, because the byproduct of the way Bitcoin is run means that fluctuations are not totally avoidable, but the risk is minimized.
The value of Bitcoin does fluctuate quite significantly.
Right. Why? If there is a... if you could tell me that, you would be sat there in a gold suit.
There are significant things, as I mentioned, that official government statements can be really bad. I think Tesla announced that they would be accepting Bitcoin, and you can order Domino's pizza and stuff. You can do lots of cool things. I think generally whenever it becomes a major news trend, you sort of see an uptick, and then it'll slowly fall over time.
Yeah.
If a major government announces something negative to do with Bitcoin, you will most definitely see a decrease. That's happened a few times.
Because people will sell.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So it is kind of... It's not really alternate then if it exists as part of our real world economy. Do you know what I mean? It's not like this utopia. I think a lot of people regard it as a sort of, oh man, all this bad stuff with the real economy, everyone should just use Bitcoin. Well, no, because Bitcoin seems to be affected by the same things as the economy that we have at the minute. Governmental decisions, like we have a governmental decision coming out tomorrow about Brexit. That's affected economies around the world, so I guess it would affect Bitcoin as well.
Probably
correct?
will.
So it's not.
It's just a different methodology.
It's just different. It's not better or. I think a lot of people hear alternative energy. You think great alternative currency. No, it's just a different currency. It's not really better or worse, because where it is better than a real world economy in some places, it is worse than a real world economy in others.
So
correct?
I think people like the idea that the network is restricted. Mm-hmm. You have no chance to get shanghaied. no one. There is no
literally and
figuratively shanghaied. Yeah, your money doesn't sit in one particular place.
Right.
You don't put your money in a bank that can go and
get robbed.
Yeah.
Or go under.
I don't
know why I went there first.
They could be the ones doing the robbing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, the network restricts how that money can be used, and it lets you account for it. But then again, if you lose access to your wallet,
you lose your wallet.
Like if you have £10 million in Bitcoin, and you have like your public key, which is your Bitcoin address, and you lose that, well then you've just lost £10 million, and it's like there's no customer support that you can ring up.
Yeah,
there's
right.
no.
You're not going to believe this.
Yeah, you're entirely responsible for it.
Wow, that's bad. There's a lot of stupid people out there. Yes.
There was my favourite example of one of those stupid people. There was a man, I think this was in the UK, where they had Bitcoin was in the news for some reason or other, and they had issued these little commemorative medals that had your Bitcoin address stored in like a QR code on the top. Right. I think he went on to BBC News and held it up to the camera and was like, oh! And someone immediately just scanned it and stole all his Bitcoins.
You ever see that on Facebook where people say, I got my new debit card, and it's like 5 minutes later, bang, instantly robbed. Yes. Instantly robbed. Why is everyone asking for my security code, lols? Oh, man.
In this man's case, there was absolutely no hope of recourse.
Did he have a lot of... I'm guessing he had quite a bit of money on there.
I can't remember.
Oh, that's bad. That's so bad.
Part of me thinks that he deserved it, though.
Well, there is that argument.
Put a TV camera in front of your face and you're just going to go...
Yeah. Maybe. Did you see that story? It was like last Christmas. Of a guy went onto eBay and bought like an Xbox, or he thought he bought an Xbox One for like 50 quid. And he got it and he opened it and he wrapped it for his son, and the son opened it on Christmas morning and it was just it was just a box with like a brick in it.
No.
With like a mug written on it in a post-it note. And the retailer Game found out and then gave him a free Xbox.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is, but the outcry in the comment section was like, this fucking idiot got a free Xbox! I can buy a box too! Fuck. So the guy lost all his money.
But that kid is going to be scarred for life. His dad just called him a mug on Christmas.
Psych. Like he can't process it. It's like, Daddy, you always called me a mug. Chinese burning himself in therapy 20 years later. So Bitcoin. Awesome. So yeah, it's just a different mode of currency. It's not better or worse than the pound, it's just different.
Yes, but I did say that I was becoming a little disenfranchised with Bitcoin. Right. But the underlying blockchain technology...
Mm-hmm. Which is the way you mine Bitcoins.
Yes, so
Cool.
The network, or the technically sounding things that we've been talking about, are... that is blockchain technology. Okay. Bitcoin... I want to say it's the first blockchain technology. I don't know if I can say that with conviction, but there are lots of new startups now.
So there's other alternative currencies outside of Bitcoin.
Yes.
Like we were talking, jokes aside, about Kanye coin a couple of minutes ago.
Dogcoin.
What's Dogcoin? That's not a real thing. Shut up.
The meme, dog.
Yeah. It's much currency. Wow.
Very coin.
There's one of those dogs that lives on our street. Not like on his own. He has an owner. And he was walking him one day, and I see him. He has this little harness on and a real long lead, and I caught the guy, and I said, "Why is he making wear that little waistcoat?" First of all, out, they didn't even say hello. Why is he wearing clothes? And the guy went, "Well, apparently they're mountain dogs." And if you let him off, that dog could have lived with him for 20 years, right, and been his best friend and bought him his slippers every day. If he let it off the lead in a field, it would just fucking go. It would just haul ass. It would run like a freed slave, and he'd never see it again. Isn't that weird? Because they're mountain dogs. They like to climb.
You'd be quite happy around here, though. Go live down by the river.
With all the rats.
Probably better than that guy. Making him wear waistcoats and stuff.
Sick fuck. That was so weird. That was such a weird... Why is he wearing clothes? Alright, so another thing I got you on to talk about is you also sent me another link, and it's something that we've been hearing in the news a lot of, is about automated workers, robot workers, and how it will affect humanity, because apparently we're living in the future now and we have to worry about robot rights, which is insane. You sent me something and which basically pertained to if a large amount of workers were made unemployed by robots, we'd have to instigate a universal income to support those workers, to make sure people didn't die of poverty because they couldn't have jobs. You sent me a real interesting thing about MEPs that are voting on this soon.
Yes.
About a universal currency, which is what? Sorry, a universal income, which is what?
I can't remember the woman's name.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But
We'll link to the video in the bottom.
It's cool. I just thought it was quite interesting that they're considering this type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably some underlying
Yeah.
issue that they just like to throw, and they're just putting like artificial intelligence and robots in so that they could get their articles there and her motion forward. But
what do you mean they're parking us there? Like she has some weird sort of sex bill she wants to pass, but she's like paper clipping it to a robot thing.
Yeah.
Here's the artificial intelligence and fucking your dog bill.
Snapchat, Facebook, tax rebate.
Right, so they're passing this stuff, and it. What is, for our listeners, what is a universal income?
So, a universal income would be, I think recently in Switzerland, they debated it, and every citizen would get, I think it was 15,000 euros per year, regardless of whether they worked or not.
Right.
You
have to be a citizen of that country.
You have to be a citizen of that country,
right.
and I believe no one gets benefits.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
After that, I'm not an expert in.
No, of course not on that. You're an expert on a lot of stuff, but
yeah, in governmental law, or the specific government.
Yeah, that's the word. Bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy.
But that's what they said. They said in that link that we'll put under the bottom of the video. It was to end benefits. To just give people, £500 a month, but to also end a lot of the red tape bureaucracy around benefits and claiming for different benefits. If you qualify for certain benefits, they're just going to wipe all that away.
Which sounds quite reasonable. So then, if you're capable of working,
unless you work in the benefits system, you've just been replaced by not even a robot, but by nothing. You are too annoying to have this job. Be gone. Here's £500 a week.
But then now they'll have money to pay the people that make the robots.
Oh, fucking pull one thread, it all falls to pieces.
Yeah. Just think of all the jobs in robot factories. The robots aren't going to... Oh my god, the robots might make themselves.
I was thinking of this the other day. When does it end? Because you have robots that are made by other robots, which must be made by other robots who are made by what? Each other? There's got to be a person somewhere down the line. Or is that the singularity? Robots.
Year 3000, just robots all the way down.
We're all just sitting there with our thumbs up our asses, like
just watching it.
40 stone. You're just watching it unfold.
Actually, it sounds quite entertaining. I would watch some robots making other robots.
How is like one of those the 10 most satisfying gifts? Do you reckon that's just robots building other robots, building other robots? It's up there with a guy making rock toffee in that machine. That's nuts. So it's crazy. So yeah,
that is going to be limited by the rate of advancement in artificial intelligence.
Right. Which is
so long as we only endow those robots with enough information to build other robots, but that's unlikely.
And just make sure they don't build other killer robots. Whoa.
So there's a lot of fear in AI.
I'm pretty scared now.
And artificial intelligence. Rightly so. A lot of people. There's a lot of doomsayers that think that Elon Musk has jumped on this bandwagon. Stephen Hawking, for some reason, has piped up.
We don't know that it's not the computer controlling him, though. With respect. Yeah. I'm not shitting on him. He's a brilliant guy, but that voice box could be doing anything.
They might tell us in the future that they tried
Can
to
you
warn us.
imagine? Like he was the ambassador. He got trapped in the wrong body.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility.
Fuck. Really scared Maell hold me. Yeah, I never thought though, when you're a kid and you see like science fiction movies, you see this sort of shit like people being replaced by robots and then robots sort of thinking they don't need to work and whatever. But that's happening. That's a real governmental policy.
Yeah.
Protection against automation. Where once it was the building cars, on the production line, now it's robots taking our jobs. I like to think there are some jobs that robots couldn't do.
So
Maybe. Because that's the fear, isn't it? A lot of the people are scared that all manufacturing jobs will go. Because you can just tell a robot to build a car and you don't have to pay it or, give it healthcare.
I genuinely think that the real danger isn't to manufacturing. So there will be, I think, there will always be jobs that can only be done by humans.
Like,
I don't know, like real physical skills.
I don't know, man. You have that dog robot that you can kick over and it gets back up.
Yeah, that
was the best I could come up with. That's how
Yeah.
deeply I've read on this subject.
So like, what is that going to do for money if it doesn't have a universal basic income?
Pizza.
You
talking about the dog?
It could deliver.
The robot dog. It can deliver pizza.
People would be too afraid.
Right,
to
I
steal
see.
it.
Like we have all this neat shit, but what are we actually going to use it for? Right. Okay.
But I mean, so I think in certain aspects of manufacturing, some things we don't trust robots enough to do every single job. Like we'll always need a human eye to make sure.
Like surgery or the military.
Yeah. So like, never in your life will there be a plane that was entirely assembled by robots.
But it might be. No, it wouldn't be. I was about to say it. Could it be flown entirely by robots either? No, couldn't.
Well, yeah, it probably could be.
Because you have one robot on the flight paths and another flying the plane.
But I think just if it's one of those things where you start unraveling the thread, there's someone always needs to be accountable for things, and not many people want to be accountable for their robots.
That's what would that job even be called?
So yeah,
The robot wrangler.
yeah, that guy may as well just take himself to jail on day one because robots can and do fail.
But not of their own volition, at least to begin with, depending on how far down the road we get.
But I think generally manufacturing industries, like, I mean, this has been coming for decades now. People have said, "Oh, the robots are coming," and we are.
That's such a nice phrase to be able to use. Totally seriously, the robots are coming.
Well, like they're already here, but we haven't put them to work yet.
Fuck.
I guess we have, but there was.
I'd be nervous that my microwave would turn on me.
You don't want to eat that, Sam.
You'd bite me for just 30 seconds at a time.
You haven't been to the gym today, Sam.
I can see you. Me and iPhone have a deal. The robots are coming.
So I've seen already cases, like a case in Japan.
Oh god.
Where some engineering middle managers fired, not because of robotics, but because of artificial intelligence.
What the fuck happened?
Yes. I think there's a company, there's Wolfram Mathematica.
Right.
I believe Wolfram are the same people that make MATLAB. It's like scientific computation software.
Cool.
And there's this beautiful online engine called Mathematica.
Right.
And it may be Mathematica Alpha that they were replaced by, but it's just this, it is an oracle. You go on there, you type in a question, it will give you an answer. You type in a mathematical formula, it will give you an answer.
Right.
It is.
And what did he anger it? What did he do? You found the amulet.
It smote them. No, their boss decided that, I think it was like a dozen people or something, their boss decided that this website could do their job better than them.
Oh, right, okay. So see, when you said it first, in my head, like, Mathematica started to scheme against him, just cause. But you mean it could just replace workers?
No, it's not like your microwave.
So it just outdated the employees. It just made them surplus to requirement because it could do all their processing jobs.
Essentially,
so what you're saying is it grew and it could start to think better than 12 people.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
On its own accord.
So this, all the fuss has always been over robotics replacing workers, and this bill proposed by this MEP for the Universal European Basic Income
Yeah.
to prevent that happening.
Yeah.
I think it's a little short-sighted who should be really starting to sweat it are middle management, the decision makers,
Yeah.
sort of.
Because a computer can make a decision better than you.
Yeah,
more logically.
People that can be replaced by an extra sheet in a spreadsheet that can provide insight into the company's direction in the next 6 years better than you could.
That's
Had you actually tried at your job?
Whoa! So soon companies could be totally separate. Well, companies are already totally separate entities. You know what I mean? They pay different tax. They obey different laws, seemingly. So that would just be the next step up from that. What question?
Apart from what is it, General Electric in America?
What about them?
It's a person.
What, his name's General Electric?
I think the
Is he a military man? What? The fuck? What are you talking about? General Electric is a person.
Yeah, I think
like the Colonel.
General Electric filed some ridiculous patent thing, or they went through the courts, and now for tax purposes they're a person.
What makes?
So
that's blowing my mind.
Shenanigans.
You can't just shenanigans that. So they what? He changed his name to General Motors or General Electric.
So when you say he, you're already pretending
The guy, the person that it.
What are you, the US
Jesus.
government?
The guy, General Electric, General Motor. So he's one person and he pays. What even tax band is that? Because General Electric must make billions of dollars a year.
They are a corporation, but
Yeah.
they somehow managed to get the tax status of an individual. I'm sure it's probably for rights or something.
There has to be more to it than that. It
Yeah.
can't simply be one guy called General Motors. General Steve Motors. That's so weird. So
We do love
corporations.
tangents.
You was already?
We do love tangents.
We love tangents. Love me is a good tangent. So corporations could then become these oracles of knowledge. You could have, the car oracle that just controls all car manufacturing, distribution everywhere, putting everyone that would usually do that out of business. That could feasibly happen.
Hypothetically.
Whoa.
But that's like saying, 30 years ago, someone could write a computer program that will run an entire business in the future, and we'd be like, whoa.
Yeah.
And now that has...
One day the cutscenes will be as good as the game. No, the other way around. My dad always used to when we play Resident Evil. They tell me one day, son, the cutscenes, yeah, that's what it's going to look like all the time.
Metal Gear Solid, we hit the apex there.
Nice. Do you ever have the light gun? You see that and you shoot at the screen. And you go, pew, pew.
Oh, yeah.
Time Crisis?
That was excellent.
Yes, son. That was a good game. That was a really good game. So we've tangented again. We've tangened again. What else do I want to pick your brains about?
Do you know how that light gun works?
Oh, I want to.
It's quite a good one.
Go on.
So when you press the button, because there's such a high refresh rate on the screen,
right?
When you press the button, the screen actually goes black, but
it's so quick you don't notice it.
Yeah, I believe there's like a white dot, and where the person is, and if your shot reflects back off that white dot and into the gun, then you've hit him, or then otherwise nothing happens.
What the fuck? I cannot even begin to imagine to be as clever as the person who worked that out.
I know, it's ridiculous.
That's so stupid. And what do we use it for?
It's probably Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah, it's that one Australian guy. I've got another idea. We'll turn the screen off and put a white circle on it. Fuck.
Playing Nintendo on a yacht.
Made of bitcoins. They're not really there, so you just be swimming. That's cool, man. It's been fucking awesome having you on.
It's been really fun to be here.
Thank you very much.
For tolerating
Come
my
back, man. We are on SoundCloud. Share, like, subscribe, listen, all that good stuff. And thanks for listening. This has been Thinking Out Loud.